Eric here with 30 by 40 Design Workshop. I'm out here at the Brown Mountain Gatehouse and Lodge, and I came out here in part because I'm suffering from cabin fever and the studio is feeling a little small, but also because I wanted to share an incredible free architectural resource. The Brown Mountain Gatehouse was commissioned by John D. Rockefeller, designed by Grosvenor Atterbury to keep motorists out of the carriage trail system. So the carriage trails were designed just for horse and buggy, and that was done to preserve the natural environment. It was designed in the French Romanesque style, so you can see some of the hallmark features of that: very steep roofs, half-timbered construction, masonry. Now, I'm not really a fan of French Romanesque architecture necessarily, but there's a couple of things that I really love about this plan. First of all, it's this 300-foot long, octagonally shaped wall, and it's designed for one purpose, and that is to funnel guests and visitors into the gate. And you'll notice that the gate towers are octagonal as well, so there's some reference there. So big architectural gesture here. The other thing that I really appreciate about this is the level of detail. So you'll notice as you look closer, just all the banded courses between the handmade bricks and the local granite. This was one of the few structures on the island where they actually used local granite. Most of the granite taken from the quarries on the island, I think there was 6 of them here, were shipped to New York and Washington, D.C. and Boston, elsewhere for curbing and monuments and other buildings. They use a pecky cypress, which they actually burned to sort of prematurely age. And you notice it just blends in with the natural stone colors and the barks and the grays in the area. I love the detailing here, and there's just a lot to dig into. Now, all this detailing is shown off in the architectural drawings, which are available for free for this building and thousands of others across the United States. And that's all thanks to the Historic American Building Survey. The Historic American Building Survey was established in the 30s, and it was done to document the American architectural building culture and tradition. And this building, along with buildings like the Farnsworth House, the Washington Monument, famous architectural landmarks, as well as not so famous ones, American vernacular buildings, barns, farms, schoolhouses, bridges, landscapes. All of this is preserved and archived in this record and available free to you to download the photos, the landscape drawings, the engineering drawings, the architectural details, the floor plans, the elevations. It's an amazing, rich resource that you can use absolutely free. So I think there's lots of ways to use this in practice. Chief among them is for creative inspiration. You know, I'm someone who's really interested in barns, and this is a deep collection of documented agricultural buildings, woodsheds, corn cribs, tobacco barns, potato barns. You can study their proportions, roof slopes, construction, timber details, and the very peculiar details. I mean, there's some eccentric structures documented in here as well. So I think it's a great place to start when you're looking at a building typology. Dig in here, search for the building typology, and see what comes up. If you append your search with drawings, you'll often get the surveys that have drawings included, but don't overlook the photos. The photos showing, cultural uses of these historic structures are really interesting. And you can also adapt those and reuse those for presentations and for your social media posts, because they're all public domain images. Of course, with attribution, you can use them, but this is an excellent free resource. Now, one of the sort of hidden gifts of this is being able to distinguish between a mediocre building and a good building. Oftentimes, even for experts, it can be difficult. I mean, I'm not an expert on French Romanesque architecture, but when I see a building cataloged here in the Historic American Building Survey, I know it's kind of been pre-vetted. So I know that is an excellent example of that style of architecture. So you can be assured that there are a range of structures in here, but the things that are documented were deemed worthy of documentation by a series of architects and historians. So there is relevance to the work that you're looking at. It's not just like Taco Bell down the street. Like, there's a reason that it's in here. Another practical use of this is for drawing practice. Some of the national park surveys have wonderfully composed, technically proficient drawing sets, and you can learn about composing elevations and plans and site plans and details on one sheet. They do it really efficiently, and they have a really narrative quality to it. So I think they're worth studying that way. Also, printing the drawings out, rolling some trace over the top of them, and starting to understand proportion and window openings and fenestration and door openings and circulation. And I would say, even if you're a minimalist, a modernist, like I consider myself to be, you know, these are great resources to learn from and then think about how you can pivot and turn them into more modern compositions. So if you're searching for a thesis idea, this is an encyclopedia of ideas, literally thousands of ideas. The way I'd encourage you to start is by browsing by subject, and it's sorted alphabetically. Choose a random letter, start digging into building typologies you had never heard of before. Now I know for me, when I was searching for thesis ideas, I pored over magazines and books, everything I could get my hands on, just looking for that spark of an idea. There's a term called bisociation. And bisociation is basically blending together two seemingly unrelated ideas. And that's kind of how I see you using this resource to generate thesis ideas. It's possible to take some theme you've been thinking about and intersect it with another building typology and something that you'll see in this collection of buildings that can create that spark. A thesis is just an in-depth exploration of a certain topic or idea. This collection is a great template for the level of research you'll need to invest in your own thesis idea. So I hope you dig into this. I hope it encourages you to make things that are worthy of inclusion in this collection one day. We'll see you again next time. Cheers, my friends. So my first architecture class, I slept through architectural history. Probably not the best person to ask about history.